Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, is Naughty Dog's new game that the internet is talking about right now. I want to share my opinion on this game from a game developer's perspective. Saddam, my name is Mustafa. I am the solo developer at Subverpath. In the past, I worked at Treyarch during the development of Black Ops 4, and I worked at Zwift. I've released a game on Steam called Nexus Defenders, and I'm currently working on a new game that's coming out soon on Steam called Beware Tomorrow. During the Game Awards, Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet was revealed, and many people are comparing it to Concord. They both share many qualities which I feel will likely lead to a lack of sales for Intergalactic. It can possibly be a huge financial loss for Naughty Dog and Sony. The trailer was revealed, and we basically learned two things: her sexual preference and the 80s futuristic aesthetic. So let's start with the good. The 80s aesthetic, I think they did a pretty good job for the most part. Like you could tell they have people with talent working on the game. Neil Druckmann says that they are going for like Akira and Cowboy Bebop. And in the trailer, while the trailer is very slow and nothing happens, at the very least, like this opening shot looks gorgeous. I think the colors look great. The broken moon is pretty cool. It shows some sort of universe building that they put effort into. Like this shot is also pretty good, and this anime also looks really cool. Unfortunately, many people think the anime looks cooler than the game itself. I have a couple of nitpicks. One being she has a CD player in her ship. Like they're going for the 80s aesthetic. Even went the extra mile by having CRT TVs. But at the same time, she has a CD player in her ship. And that, to me, I feel like somebody missed the memo when they added a CD player. The other thing is all the product placement that they threw in there. They had to show the Adidas, the Sony, oh wait, how did that get there? How did that get there? The Porsche. This makes me feel that the game has so many in-game advertisements in your face. Overall, I think there's some really good design elements to the trailer, but it was just a very slow 4.5 minute long trailer with 10 seconds of what resembled gameplay. I'm assuming the gameplay is going to be like God of War due to the camera angle that they displayed and that you have a sword, a melee weapon. So I can only assume about the gameplay. But other than that, the only thing I learned about this game is this woman's sexual preference because of how she appears. Now, I wanted to put a picture of the actress who they also based the look off of, just to show that she is not an ugly woman. She's fairly attractive, but they went out of their way just to make her this. The argument can be made that this is a unique look. This is not an appealing look. I can guarantee you that there is an audience of people who think this looks cool, but that audience is a minority. That is a tiny audience, and making a multi-million-dollar game and balancing it on her shoulders is not a good idea. Now, I'm not saying she needs to be over-sexualized or super attractive. I only put the logos of these games because I don't want to put images of the women from these games. I'm Muslim. Due to my religious beliefs and morals, I don't like when women are hypersexualized in games. I think it's inappropriate. I make a rule for myself to not play games that I wouldn't play in front of my little kids. And so I'm not advocating for her to look like the characters from these games. Trying to subvert the role of a protagonist with her looks will definitely be divisive amongst the audience. Let's talk about some other characters real quick. Here's Bill from The Last of Us, another Naughty Dog game. Now, the reason why I want to talk about Bill real quick is because in the game it is revealed that Bill is gay. And this reveal subverts the player's expectations because Bill presents himself as a tough guy, and he doesn't have any flamboyant traits. He doesn't present himself in any stereotypical way that a gay man would act. He just acts like a regular guy who's actually pretty tough. And he has some problems. But overall, there is no hint of him being gay. So it's subversive to make that part of his character. I don't recall many people complaining about him being in the game. In fact, I remember many people actually liking this character. Now, I will not say that he's a perfect character. I do think there's a major flaw with his design, and that is that he's overweight. I think it makes no sense for a man to be this overweight when living in the post apocalypse, living by yourself, working hard, being active all day long. Like, this guy's burning calories. He is constantly active. There's no reason for him to have like this much fat on his face. But other than that, I feel like most people consider Bill to be a good character. Now let's look at Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Now, Uncharted, you get to play as Chloe over here, and you're joined by Nadine. She's more on the masculine side, especially in Uncharted 4, where she takes her jacket off to show her biceps, and then she starts fighting Nathan Drake. But you have like a slightly masculine woman and a regular woman who she was more sexualized in Uncharted 2, but they started to downplay that each time she appeared in the series after that. So she's more of like a regular average woman. And the key thing with these two characters that is neither of them are over the top. Even though she's slightly masculine, I don't feel like they're over the top. Now, this character is a complete stereotype. You look at her and you instantly know that she's screaming, "This is my sexual preference." That's what a stereotype is. And that is a turnoff for many people. As I mentioned before, there's a small group of people who are excited about these type of stereotypes, but the majority of people don't want to see a stereotype that screams, "Hey, this is my sexual preference." Now, stereotypes aren't all bad. Some stereotypes can be fun. Here are some examples of stereotypes that don't really offend anybody, that they're just there to be funny. Just about every Street Fighter character, especially in the beginning, they're all over the top stereotypes just so that they can stand out, and they were just fun stereotypes. Same with the Punch-Out games; they're all over the top. I don't think any of them are super offensive. Maybe Hoy Carlo is questionable, especially with his theme song, but overall, like, they're all fun stereotypes. When using stereotypes with your character, here are some guidelines. First of all, you can have them be self-aware, like with these characters. These are self-aware. They're just silly. And I don't think she's a self-aware stereotype. She is actually serious. You could also use a stereotype when you are subverting expectations. Like, for example, Bill had a tough guy trope, and then he subverted expectations by revealing his sexual preference. Now, for this character to subvert expectations, she needs to like reveal that she's into Camille Nanjiani or something, but I highly doubt that they're going to do that. Another way you can use a stereotype is when you are doing a commentary on the stereotype. I doubt that that Naughty Dog is doing any sort of commentary with her. In fact, I think if anything, they're going to reinforce stereotypes with her. And the final guideline I have to share is if you have it as a starting point for growth, and the character goes through an arc of growth, and I highly doubt it. I think it's just her character. I mentioned that I feel like her sexual preference is her character. I want to make it a point that these qualities are not personality traits. Your sexual preference, culture, ethnicity, age, ability, body type, gender identity, these are not personality traits. These are not character development. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this image that Activision Blizzard was bragging about their algorithm, about how they quantify diversity. When you quantify these traits and make it a priority, then that leaves your characters open to becoming a token character. A token character is when the character only exists to fill in a certain representation and does not have any sort of personality, any sort of character growth, any sort of character development that gives them any extra dimension beyond what they are tokenizing. So how do you avoid having a token character? What really matters when it comes to characters? Well, first of all, their actions. The character's actions matter when they do things that are heroic. The character's mission matters. When the character has a mission that the player or the audience can can say, I believe in that mission. I hope that this character completes the mission, and I hope that the character brings justice. When the character has certain morals or values. Back in my college days, I was reading Daredevil comics, and I really connected with the character because of his Catholic beliefs. Not because I'm Catholic, but because there's a big overlap between our morals, our values, and the fact that he would struggle to endure during hard times and keep his faith. That was something that I was able to connect with. Also, when the characters go through an arc of growth, such as a redemption arc, this is why Zuko is one of the most popular, if not the most popular character from Avatar The Last Airbender. Personality or temperament. Having different personalities adds true diversity to your characters. If you have four different characters and you give them one of these four temperaments, then you have four distinct characters that act differently. And people can connect with at least one of them. Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, is going to be an action game. And as I mentioned, I think it's going to be more like God of War. The target demographic for action games are majority men. Now, here's a statistic from GameTree that I was able to find that shows that men are 13.6% more likely to play action games than women. And so that means if you have 100 players, there's a good chance that 57 would be men and 43 would be women. But I personally think that the difference is much larger than that. I don't think that that the number of women is that high, but that's just me. We'll just go off of these numbers that I got from GameTree. And when you are making something that doesn't appeal to your largest demographic, then you are setting yourself up for financial failure. We've seen this with so many games and even TV shows and movies. I think a really good example was when Elizabeth Banks was marketing her movie that she directed, the Charlie's Angels reboot movie. And before the movie came out, she kept on saying, "This movie is not for men. It's just for girls. This is the girls' Charlie's Angels. This is a girls' action movie." And then when the movie completely flopped, she completely regretted it. She complained that men aren't watching the movie, and that's because men are the target audience for action movies. Same with games. Men are the target audience. Now, many of you are aware that the game industry has been going through many layoffs in these past years. I myself was part of a layoff that happened last year within the gaming industry. When the industry is going through so many layoffs and it's looking very shaky at the moment, you can go two different routes. You can either make a game that sells, and that means also making a game that appeals to the entire world, including the Middle East, including China, including Japan. This game with that main character will not appeal to any of these regions. All these regions will reject that main character. Or the other choice is you can make a game for social change. Now, here's again, this is the actress who is playing the main character. And there is a TikTok video of her going around saying that I hope that we just start seeing that the future is here whether we like it or not. We need to not just accept it, but embrace it. And that's a key word, embrace it. She wants the world to embrace this ideological message that they want to send with this game. And when the people who are making these movies, making these video games, making these TV shows, making these media, and they are more focused on making the change, they complain that the audience is not buying their product, and they say, you need to buy our product, you need to like our product. That just shows disdain. That just shows that the people behind the product don't like the audience. And that's not how you sell a product. You have to make the product for the people that you want to sell to. That would be like if I make a product and I fill it up from beginning to end with Islamic ideology, and I lectured my players that they need to convert to Islam, I'm going to be fighting an uphill battle trying to make sales with that game. It is not a good idea. Even though it is my ideology that I agree with, I know it is a bad idea to try to make a game that lectures people into converting to Islam. And this is what these people are doing. They are showing disdain to the audience. They are saying you need to like this character and you will buy the game. I think Sony knows this is a bad idea because of the fact that they turned off the comment section on their trailer. If they want to avoid layoffs, the smart thing for them to do would be to go back to the drawing board and at the very least make her look a bit more like her. Make her look a little design her in a way in which her sexual preference is not the main message I see when I see her. Anyways, if you got this far, I really appreciate you listening to my opinions. I would also really appreciate it if you go to the link that's in the description and add Beware Tomorrow to your Steam wishlist. I am shooting for a January release. I'm still in development. I ran through some hiccups with development, especially since my baby was born a couple weeks ago. So life has been pretty hectic, working and adjusting to the new life with the third kid. Also, let me know in the comments below. Am I completely wrong about Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet? What is the Heretic Prophet? Why is the name of the game so long? Did they do that on purpose? Did they make the name of the game so long so that I would have to tongue twist myself every time I say Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet? Don't forget to give me a thumbs up on the video if you got this far, and also subscribe. I'm going to try to make another video very soon. I'm going to try to make it more positive. Talk about, I think on the next video will probably be like Marvel Rivals. Talk about something that's more positive because my last few videos have been more negative topics, but I appreciate your support. Thanks. Salam.